Hello, trading is closed on February 22nd, 2024. We always do our disclaimer, go over our calls, and make some predictions. It's my trading plan for tomorrow, February 23rd. Please trade at your own risk. My calls can be wrong. Try as I might, I really can't send my video, my webinar, to anyone without a Gmail address. It just isn't going to work. So if you want to order my webinar explaining the system, please send me your Gmail address at my Gmail address. Thanks very much. But we said this was a very positive development yesterday. We said if we gapped under here, I thought it was pretty unlikely we could drop. But I didn't think that was going to happen. I said if it didn't, 5,087 would be in play, and we closed at 5,087.03. This is what we said. Today's pattern has the early high. Tomorrow also has the early high. This is one of the clearest early high patterns you'll ever see. There is an early high, a late low, and the middle of the day trends up. Now usually, this is a negative pattern. Usually this low is under this high, but it doesn't have to be. And when it isn't, usually you'll see higher prices tomorrow, even if you don't close higher. But tomorrow's open can substitute for today's close. And if we open down here, we have the normal pattern. And that would mean this low wasn't the low would be here. Well, early on we had an ultimate sell signal and an optional higher target. The optional higher target obviously printed. The ultimate sell signal got its minimum. We only got as low as, what was it? We had 5,055.18. You don't have to go more than that, but almost always you will, and almost always it happens today. Well, it didn't happen today. I might keep track of that until tomorrow. Otherwise, since it isn't a requirement, I'd forget it. But it doesn't work every time. It isn't part of the rules, but far more often than not, you're going to undercut that low. We also have a target of 5,070.49. And if we don't gap up, the rules call for that to print. And if we don't gap up smartly, that's my call for tomorrow. This is the DeMark combo sell signal on the weekly chart. Now this is based on the weekly close. You interpret it loosely, but you can see we're pretty close to as far as he thinks we're going to go. And if it fails, we have a huge rally tomorrow. His rule is it fails big, and we just continue going up in a huge rally. These are the stop losses on his monthly, sequential, and combo sells. Now the month has a week to go, and these are based on monthly closes. You can see on the sequential, we're pretty close to his height he thinks will go for the month. But on the combo, although he interprets it loosely, we're like more than 150 handles higher. So if his thing works, and that we don't know, but if it works, by the end of next week, we should be 150 handles or more under than where we are now. And if it fails, we should be much higher. Now, to get much higher, you'd have to go very, very, very far over the upper Bollinger Band on the monthly chart. And of course, it's possible. It's just that it's not what usually happens. This is a strong resistance area in his work. We've been waiting for this number for a long time. We've had it for months. This pattern identified this low within 14 points. So we had plus or minus 14 points, 5,087. Now the high was 5,094, so that's within 7 points, and 7 is less than 14. So based on this count and these FEB relationships, we're in the area where we think this should top out. Now I don't think it's the end of this by any means, but it's the area I've been looking for the end of this leg. We gapped up, hit a higher high, closed under all the highs. It's a negative pattern. If it's maintained, all you have to do to vitiate it is to gap and promptly take over this high. But if you don't take over that high, it's negative. This is a cup, this is a handle, and this handle is sloping up. Investors, Business, and Daily has identified this as an unstable pattern. And once we break this handle, which hasn't happened yet, but it's been challenged many times, and once it breaks, the target's to retrace to the origin. That's over 100 points lower. So we have, let's just see some more charts here. This is the 5,087 level. I'm not totally happy with this wave 5. It's difficult for me to count it as a 5-wave structure. That's complete, but it's possible the 5th wave truncates, or I just can't count it right. That's always possible. We have a situation with the lower target, a rally up into resistance, and the need to overtake this high to continue the rally. However, if we gap down, it's very negative. If we gap under this and hold it, we don't get confirmation of this up move. Don't forget, any rally needs to be confirmed by going past the close by 1 cent. If we gap down and hold it, we haven't gone over this close by 1 cent, and this doesn't count. So if we gap down and if we hold it, we'll have an inside day, and if we have an inside day on Friday, which again hasn't happened yet, we should have a big down day Monday and eventually undercut this low. So bulls really have to keep the thing up and go through the strong resistance we've encountered here, because if they don't, this could be the end of the move. This is the price we've been looking for the end of the move for months. Signals are mixed. Friday's pattern has a really high regardless of where we open. There's a lower MEJT target. Unless we gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print. Signals are mixed. It's bullish. Today's normally bearish pattern didn't close near its low. And if it's maintained at the open tomorrow, should lead to a higher price printing, regardless of where we close. But if we gap down smartly, it kills the pattern. Bulls need to trade past today's close to confirm the break higher. Now it's bearish. We gapped up, hit a higher high, and closed under midday highs. We had a long-standing target for the end of the leg. We have a cup with upsloping handle. A break of the lower trend line, if it occurs, targets a retracement to the origin of the pattern, and DeMark's stop-loss criteria will be violated if we're not smartly lower in a week. I believe today had the largest range of the rally. That's the largest true range, and very often this comes on the final day of the move. Today is a candidate for a top. So if it works, the ideal situation would be to gap down, have an inside day, and drop big on Monday. And as long as that remains possible, I'm comfortable calling this a top. Now if we trade over today's high, and maybe even over the close, then it's not a clear call for me. I don't have a clear plan if that happens. Now I know there'll be some people who think this is the pattern with the early low, which it's not. This is as clear an early high as you'll ever get. And it's important to remember with this system recycles every 32 calendar days is the change in trend times. even though the pattern usually has a negative bent to it, you can look at the midday move and identify the pattern pretty easily. It's the one with the early high and the late low. This is very negative if we gap down smartly. If we gap down, we'll hit this target. There's a great chance this is the end of the leg. We could have a very sizable drop. We keep on going here. It really invalidates what I've been looking for. And that can happen. Anybody can be wrong. But if we do that, if we keep going here, I'm not really certain how to interpret the pattern. I know what DeMark's stuff would say is that it would be a huge rally, which would have to be a huge bar well over the upper Bollinger Band on the monthly chart. Anything's possible, but that would be quite unusual. I'd be much happier if we gap down, but that hasn't happened yet. Tomorrow has the early high, possible end of the leg today. It needs to trade over today's close for confirmation, or else this whole thing is a false break. That's today's call.